Wet ones. They're like dry ones, only wetter. Dr. Scholl's massaging gel insoles. Stop complaining and put these in your shoes, you big fat wuss. Band-Aids, because seriously, what other brand are you gonna buy? Gold Bond medicated powder, your testicles' best friend. I don't know, viewers, am I coming off as too desperate for corporate sponsorship? I mean, I'm handing out free advertisements like I'm some kind of cheap prostitute, which I don't want to be. I want to be a very respectable, expensive, high-class prostitute. Maybe I'll just have to stick to my other methods for making money. I could give plasma today. That would be the 10th time this week. I think I should be okay. Plus, I could reopen my assassin-for-hire business. I specialize in cruel and unusual forms of murder. Or I could just go with the old standby, the classic. Other Griff stalks a girl, and then she pays me to keep Other Griff away from her. It's not all for me, though. Other Griff gets a cut, don't you, man?
Yeah, you do, but honestly, dude, you don't need to pay me. The job itself is pleasure enough.
Okay, and never say pleasure again. Good afternoon, butt kickers. It's September 29, the 272nd day of 2011, which means that 15 years ago today, the Nintendo 64 was released in North America. Maybe more than anything else, and I'm not sure if this is indicative of the overall sadness of my life, but older video game consoles like the N64 produce in me great nostalgia. I mean, I could regale you with stories upon stories of my time with that console. Staying up all night playing Super Smash Bros. With friends, becoming convinced that Link was and always will be the best character. The first time I popped Super Mario 64 in, I was sold, completely blown away by how seamless Mario's transition into 3D was. A similar feeling came around the first time I played Ocarina of Time. Could Zelda really be a 3D action-adventure game? Of course it could, and now when a solid half of the people in the world think of Zelda, they think of it as a 3D action game. And then there's Banjo-Kazooie, the second greatest platformer ever made, after Super Mario 3, of course, and GoldenEye, the name in classic first-person shooters. And Paper Mario, and Star Fox 64, and Conker's Bad Fur Day, the list goes on, and I'm guessing, since my audience is largely comprised of LP watchers, that you're taking a similar stroll down memory lane as well. All this makes me think about the saying, the good old days. I think as time passes, we idealize the time that has already passed. Sure, my life was simpler in the 90s, but does that mean it was actually better? There's another saying that goes, hindsight is 20/20, and I think that's true, but only to a degree. I think hindsight is 20/20 when looking back a year or two or three, but when looking way back, especially into our formative years, we're more around 20/60, even with our rose-colored glasses. Side note, I'm sorry to those of you unfamiliar with American idioms, but you're just gonna have to suck it up because I don't give a flying rip. But seriously, in 15 years, am I gonna look back on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 and the Wii and be immediately hurled into a world of nostalgia? Will I long for it to be 2011? For it to be the good old days yet again? Probably not, actually, because I'm gonna remember 2011 as the year I didn't have any free time. And so I encourage you to enjoy nostalgia, to look back on the good old days favorably, even to use them as an occasional escape. But don't let them cloud your vision of the present, because today is nothing more or less than tomorrow's good old days. Speaking of tomorrow, until then, I'm Griff, and I'm still talking.